You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Come along with us on the third annual Spring Shop Tour Series as we zip across the country, highlighting the success and achievement of some of the best landscaping companies in the industry. In these exciting interviews, you'll hear how these business owners are building their incredible teams, growing successful brands, and how their shops and facilities have been game changers for growth. We want to thank Equipment Defender, Cujo Yardware, Ballard Products, and Landscape Management Software, LMN, this year's tour sponsors for their partnership and support. And now, let's jump into this engaging interview with your host, Brian Fullerton.
All right, guys, we are jumping right on into it here, hanging out with Ken Deemer. He is the co-founder of Local Roots over here in beautiful Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, right?
There you are.
I got it right the second time. I had a little gaff there, but dude, we just got done shooting the shop tour, by the way. Freaking awesome. This is really cool. I know you guys are super humble, and you're like, yeah, it's not much, and it's, we're doing our best. But I'm telling you, it's building the dream.
I appreciate you saying that, man.
I'm telling you, this is awesome. So for anybody who doesn't know you guys, I always say, like, hey, give me like the 2-minute highlight reel, like give the macro. Yeah. If you don't mind, who are you guys? What do you got going on? Maybe just a little bit of the company dynamics, and then we'll kind of peel back a couple layers of the onion today. For sure.
So like you mentioned, my name is Ken. I've got 2 partners at Local Roots. So Patrick is the one who founded the company with me, and then Rob is our third partner who just joined recently. He had a carpentry company that we acquired, and then he came on and he runs the operations side.
That's right.
So we are heading into year 11 of business right now.
Okay.
And so we started our first year. Patrick and I both fresh out of college. He graduated. I didn't. I was just out. I've tried to find ways to say that doesn't say didn't graduate.
You went to college. You just didn't come out with a degree.
I'm always like, finished college. Just finished with college.
Almost.
That's it. Yeah.
Still enough to get the student loans though, probably, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
They don't let you off the hook that easily.
So yeah, we finished up and just went into this kind of by accident at the beginning. It was one of those, Patrick had some lawns on the side that we kept on cutting. And it was just every single week we were out, people were stopping and being like, hey, could you do this? Hey, could you do that?
Yeah.
And that year, coming from part-time college work, we thought we grossed $52,000 the first year. And we're like, oh, now we're making money, baby. Yeah. Let's go. So yeah, our growth, especially the first 2 or 3 years, it was really painful. It was really painful and slow. Mm-hmm. And then started to pick up. So we were kind of like mid 100,000s for the first 3 or 4 years. And then kind of the second half of the life of the company has been a lot faster growth.
Okay.
And that's just directly proportional with when we really kind of got smart and got serious about both our people and then our systems and processes and integrating those two together.
Wow.
So this year we'll do about 8.5 million.
Wow.
You guys probably saw the shop tour, or you will see it here soon, but we're on about a 10-acre property. We got a 10,000 square foot shop here. We're just east of Pittsburgh, about 15 minutes.
Wow. That's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot there. We got to do the unabridged version one day. We get like 3-hour macro,
Right.
But
the Joe Rogan version.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Once we had this cool studio too, right? But the growth here, I want to talk about the inception a little bit, because there's a lot of guys out there that come to me with, hey, me and my buddy, we're cutting grass in college.
Yeah.
Or we're thinking about combining forces, going into business together. Some people like partnerships, some people don't. Dave Ramsey's got an old line, the ownership that doesn't sell is a partnership.
Yeah.
Whatever, and that's fine. I'm a partner with a couple different things in my life, and I've found that partners have been really beneficial and helpful. But you also have to have boundaries and nuance and be on the same team and have the same vision. So did you and, Pat have the same idea and mission back in the day? So basically, Pat was mowing lawns, right? And then you were filling in for him when he was work or college or life.
Right.
So you guys kind of pseudo jumped into this thing together.
Yeah.
But you guys have been best friends for quite a while.
Yeah, we've been best friends since 7th, 8th grade.
So how did that evolve? Or how did you guys know, hey, we're going to do Local Roots together?
Yeah. So there's been so many different iterations of that. And there's not a time I could look back to that was like, here's when we decided and here's when it worked or we got it right.
Okay.
There was really, I guess in broad strokes, there was like the accidental starting of Local Roots.
Okay.
Which was the first year 1 through 3.
Who came up with the name, by the way?
Patrick did.
Well, and what's the Local Roots? Just like local.
Yeah. I mean, so we've always been like a very like community oriented, like want to make an impact where we are. Like we always say, like, be where your feet are.
Okay.
So for us, like we wanted to be that kind of, and that's changed over the years to mean different things.
Sure.
But yeah, we've wanted to have that kind of like local strong impact.
Yeah.
Just to be a positive force for what we're doing, whether that's with our employees or in the communities we're working in, to be a positive force.
Local Roots.
Yep.
I love it. Is Loro short?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. And I, by the way, saw you guys and heard you guys from Caleb Allman, and then also piggybacking on that, big honor, I feel like, but LMN came through here.
Yeah, that was a ton of fun.
Dude, explain that for a quick second.
Yeah.
That was crazy. 200 people here, you said?
Yeah, it was packed out. So they LMN has their mastermind events where they go around. Mark Bradley speaks for a day.
Yeah.
And then the second day is like half speaking, and then the second half is a shop tour.
Yeah.
So we've just been connected with LMN throughout the years through various different things.
Yeah.
We have a couple connections there, and they reached out to us couple months prior. It's like, hey, we're finalizing our shop tour schedule. Would you guys be interested? And of course, we're like, yeah, we'd be honored.
Dude, that's freaking sweet.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Wow.
So we got it all set up, and it was super fun what we did for the actual tour. We set up stations. So we had 6 different stations. So like the way the owners kind of allocate out is I run sales, business development. So I manage our sales and design team, and then all new biz dev. And then Patrick is all finances, and then Rob is all operations.
Gotcha.
So we kind of took those 3 pillars, and then Tyler, who runs all of our maintenance operations, had a station.
Yep.
We just all kind of ran different stations, and then we broke up the groups. So we had 6 groups of whatever,
just
30, 40 people, and then it just rotated through.
Wow.
So it was a ton of fun. We did that, had a big cookout, bonfire.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I was, I'm just getting on board with LMN the last couple months, getting to know Mark Bradley, getting to know LMN. There's a whole nother world out there.
Yeah.
As you guys aspire to grow, past 100, 200, 300 grand, there's kind of this middle of like 300-400 grand businesses to 5-10 million.
Right.
After 10 million, it seems like everybody kind of knows everybody.
Yeah.
But there's so many regional businesses doing 2, 5, 10.
Right.
So when I saw you guys were on the circuit, I was like, well, that's got to be a great company. And then Caleb said, hey, you got to meet my friend Ken.
Yeah.
They got a great thing going on. I'm like, well, then it's
2 votes of confidence.
Yeah, 2 votes of confidence. Yeah. We're good to go. So again, thank you for even opening up your guys' doors. And
of course, it's been awesome to get to know you and hang out with you here.
I've been here for like 3-4 hours. All we've done is tell stories. Like I'm learning from you guys. I don't know if you guys are learning from me.
Oh,
but
for sure. For sure.
This is a humbling conversation experience. No doubt about it. So and again, not to interrupt, but take it back to like how you guys were getting started. So did you always know you were going to build this $2, $5, $10 million company, or because you guys were in college and then graduating and getting families, obviously?
Totally. So that was just pure hustle phase. Was year 1 through 3. And looking back, we had to go through it for our personal development as people.
Sure.
I don't think we had to go through it from a business sense, but we just didn't have, neither of us come from awesome, loving, super caring families. We don't have anyone in our like immediate lineage who's done something similar to entrepreneurial perspective.
Okay, sure.
My grandfather's in real estate and super kind with his time and everything, like very generous with that.
Sure.
But still just totally different world when it comes to it.
Makes sense.
So it was school of hard knocks for sure for the first kind of 1 to 3 years. And that was definitely the hardest part for the partnership for us as well, was just having to figure out how to make all those decisions together. And I would say, kind of as we went to like year 3, even year 3 through 5, there were still a lot of butting heads about it.
Okay.
At the end of the day, what we always knew, there were these deep truths that we could kind of were able to hold on to.
Sure.
And that was just, I would always say like this, like, I don't have to worry about myself. Like I don't have to look out for myself in situations because I know Patrick's looking out for me.
Wow.
And vice versa, the other way around.
I like that.
And, that's kind of allowed us to, I've used this analogy a couple times talking about it, but like, there can be a huge storm out in the ocean. And like, if you're on a boat on the top, you're being tossed like crazy up and down. And that's what the circumstances, like, that's what we're dealing with. We're being tossed all over the place. But that deeper level that we're moored to is like the submarine that's underneath. Yeah. Where it's like, yeah, sure, you're feeling some undulations, but there's nothing that's going to really shake you in any major way.
I like that.
And I think that's how it's always been. And then I would say really in the last like 5 to 6 years is when we've gotten really serious about, one, communicating. We've established really good channels for communication about like, where are we? where are your goals going right now, and making sure that we're staying aligned on what our goals are for our family, down to like, hey, what does work look like for you for the next year or the next 2 years? And I think this is a challenge that everyone faces as you're growing in business, but how much do you want to be reaping the benefits of the business now versus like in growth mode?
Right.
And there's a balance to that. Cause like I've got 2 little kids, I got one on the way, and it's like, I don't want to be in a phase right now where I'm building as hard as I possibly can for some future hope in 10 years when my kids are grown up and want nothing to do with me.
Right.
So there is a big part of it now where it's like, yeah, I'm going to be home for breakfast. Like that's just something I'm going to do. Like I'm not missing dinner. So that definitely, it does put a lid on the hustle, if you will.
Yep.
That being said, of course, we're not like, we have no interest in taking our foot off the gas. So it's finding different ways to do that. But the most important thing for us has been the communication to say like, hey, what should our expectations be on one another? And just being, I mean, at the end of the day, just putting your freaking pride down.
Right.
And being able to say like, hey, you said you're going to do this. It's not done. Instead of being like, oh, well, this happened. It's like, you're right. I screwed up. Won't happen again.
No, I love it.
Or it will happen again, and I'll be sorry then too.
Dude, that's such a good mindset and insight, and I love the analogy too. We've been telling stories and analogies all day, and it's so helpful for me because I'm learning too, right? Mm-hmm. And I love the analogy you came up with the mast. It's you getting flung around in the up top, but down below, it's like, hey, it's like 1 inch down here, but it's 10 feet up there.
Yeah.
But as long as you guys are on the same team, same page, core values, core mission, core vision. It's unshakable.
Yeah.
Right. And I get that question a lot. And folks, if you guys have questions, I know these guys are actually very generous with their time and capacity. Shoot them a DM, shoot them an email. I'm sure they'd help you guys out.
Totally.
If you guys ever want to navigate that stuff, it's outside of my realm of expertise and pay grade because I'm just not a partnership in my company. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what, like hearing how you guys work together, you guys seem like you're together, which is really, really inspiring for other guys that are looking to grow that $5-10 million company. Because, out there, it is tough to build a partnership, especially with finances getting in the way, emotions getting in the way, different families and seasons of your life.
Yeah.
I'm in the exact same boat as you are, popping out kids, building a home. I'm like, I'm trying to go hard, but like hard looks different.
Yeah.
Right. Like it looks different than it did 5 years ago where I could just go and we had no kids and who cares?
Yeah. We called it headlamp season of life.
What's that?
It was, I remember I would have a headlamp. I'd wake up in the morning. And the first thing I'd do, I'd turn off my alarm. I'd just reach over, grab my headlamp, put it on, go outside in the dark, hook up the trailer, get everything ready. 30 minutes later, sun starts to come up whenever you're going. Headlamp goes in the center console. Yeah. Then you work for the whole day. You're finishing up the last lawn, throw on the headlamp for the second half of it because it's getting dark. Wow. Headlamp, you go unhook the trailer. I like get back to bed. Headlamp goes back on the nightstand, and it's just it's headlamp season, and that's not supposed to be a long season.
Well, and not only that, now if you try to run out the door at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and you got the 2 kids and the wife, and at least this is how it is back at my house. If I don't take 30 minutes to make sure she's set up for the day, she doesn't get caught up till 2 p.m. And then she's feeling upset. That turns into chaos in our personal life, which spews over to your business life. So like I told my guys, I'm in a different season of life. I'm 37. You guys are 21. So it's so interesting that you bring that up, but it's very, very helpful to know. And not only that, like you guys have been on a crazy growth curve. You guys have moved facilities once or twice. You guys went from, a team of just, you, Pat, maybe 1 or 2 guys to how many people do you guys have working? 50 employees. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Yeah. So you kind of broke it up into 2 seasons here. If you want, help me understand a little bit more the first 5 years. What was important? What were you guys focusing on? And then maybe even some of the work you guys are doing. What you guys do more commercial maintenance, landscaping. But then number 2, maybe the second season. What's that been like the last couple of years?
Do you want me to go to the first or the second?
Let's start with the first.
So the first was again, headlamp season's how I'll put it. Like it was like hustle phase, and it was really, I think the biggest challenge was ourselves at that time. And it was lack of focus. So it was very much, we had what we call now like SOS, shiny object syndrome. Yeah. Like everything was awesome and everything you could make a bucket doing. So really early on that manifested, we'd be working somewhere and the guy'd be like, hey, do you guys paint decks? We'd be like, hell yeah, we paint decks. Right. So we ended up with a bunch of that type of stuff. Sure. And then moving on, like even like cool, for me, I'm like, well, this is like big boy stuff. Like we bought $130,000 skid steer, put a forestry mulcher on it. We're like, we do land management now. Right. It's like, what?
Sure you do.
What are you talking about? So there was just so much of that where we were just scattered, and it's
good and bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was just that like unbridled entrepreneurial drive.
Sure.
So it was similar to like, if you just like gasoline on fire, it's like a huge explosion. It's like, man, there's so much energy there. There's so much inertia, but it's not directed towards anything. So if I could call like a watershed moment, it was for us, we had a coach that we signed up with, and it's kind of because we got to the end of our rope.
Oh, wow.
Where we're just like, hey, if this doesn't, like, if we can't change this, I just want out. Right. And it wasn't this big, like dramatic, like I'm done. Yeah. It was just like, I don't really want to do this. I'm still young. Like, I have time to switch careers. I can move into a bunch of different things. I just don't really want it if this is what it means. Right. And again, the chaos, not feeling like you're working towards building anything greater than that. So with that transition came clarity and purpose.
So was it that coach, if you don't mind me asking? Because
it was a big part of it for sure.
Yeah. A lot of people seem to have like these couple different seasons in their life. Yeah. Season 1, season 2, season 3, so on and so forth. Yeah. So season 2 is kind of like, hey, what was it like? We need to get serious about this, or something's got to change.
Yeah, I think it was the something's got to change. And I'll say, because I don't want to, as a coach, and I know you are too, to a capacity. Sure. Like, I don't want to overstate it. Like, it's not a silver bullet. Right. It is. We were at a point where we were willing to do what it took. Wow. And that has to be the catalyst predicate to being successful in that type of relationship. Because I think it's easy to just be like, well, this person will give us all the answers and we'll just be good. Right. But those were some of the hardest years for us, were those kind of transition years as we systematized, as we truly started like understanding what it meant to invest in a team rather than just being really nice, like air quotes, nice to people. Right. Does that make sense?
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was I would say that was the big transition period, was focusing that energy, because the energy didn't go down at all, but it was saying, hey, we're actually going to take the time rather than just like running as fast as possible, every different direction, chasing down every opportunity that came up. Yeah. It's now, I'm sure you've heard this before, like you make your first $1 million by saying yes, and then you make every $1 million after that by saying no.
Oh, I have heard that. Yeah. Let me ask you that, like, just to quantify a little bit there. This is really good. A lot of guys in the middle, like, this is really meaty conversation for them, and myself included. What was some like the first right things you guys started to do that you immediately started seeing change? You're like, yeah, this is in the right direction. You had a coach. Was it, and people say systems or vision or core values, but like, was it a right hire? Mm-hmm. Was it I need to stop doing this? Was it roles? What, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, can you quantify one or two things?
Yes. Because there's a lot of guys. Is yes.
Yes on all of it.
Yeah. I think it was so we do with everyone we work with. Mission, vision, and core values is where we start all the time, and it's frustrating. I can see the frustration on people's faces when we're doing it, because you're like, we got a problem right in front of us. Yes. And we get to that as fast as we can. But the reality is, like, you just need to know where you're going to tell you what guides your decision. It's like, are you in driving terms? I don't know if you're as big of a metaphor guy as I am, but it's the only way I know how to explain anything.
Yeah.
Like if you're driving to Indianapolis versus if you're driving to Sacramento, it's like, do I go right or left? It's like, I don't know where you're going.
Where are you going?
You know what I mean? Like we have to know where you want to take this thing in order to make that decision. So I think once we had that clarity, we were able to make a lot of decisions in relation to that.
Was that you and Pat, or you, Pat, and the team?
That was predominantly Pat and Ken.
Okay.
We didn't really have any overhead staff at that time. Okay. It was just the two of us running everything. Yeah. So one of the big things we did was freeing ourselves up to actually run the business side. Like
the work classic, on versus working in. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, sure. And so hiring and systematizing were the two really big things that moved the needle for us there. That was right when automation was starting to come in a lot too. So how much we could automate in terms of like scheduling, like appointments coming in, answering services, systematizing stuff for our team, taking time to say like, hey, we're going to set this up correctly to then have it pay dividends. Setting up our CRM correctly to, we can estimate, like my team can estimate a $250,000 job in 45 minutes now. Whereas before that'd be like, it's going to take me 2 days. Right. Like I'm going to have to go out and measure or walk a wheel for everything.
You're not wrong, dude. Like with LMN, people are like, it's $500 a month. I'm like, folks, I get it. But if you're trying to grow, I can bang out estimates now in five and I know they're accurate. Yeah. Or 98 cents on the dollar versus before it was 80 cents on the dollar. Right. Accurate.
Right.
With my previous CRM, which was different roles, different size company.
Totally.
That's really, really awesome. So systems, right hires, was there any in building a team? Yeah. Delegating, it sounded like.
Yeah. So a lot of delegating and a lot of getting out of our own way. Yeah. Like with just being willing to say, what we've always used as kind of our litmus test is like, as soon as someone can do it 80% as well as you can, you need to move.
I love that.
Because the cool thing is I think it's easy to think of that in like a static moment in time where it's like they'll always be 80% as good as I am. But the reality is, I have a very strong theory that business owners are some of the most arrogant people in the world, even the humble ones.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because we have this really strong, just like no one will do it like I will.
Right.
And it's like, that's the most arrogant thing that I think all the time. And I fight it every day thinking it. And I think it comes from a good spot oftentimes where it's like, I want to make sure this happens just the right way.
Right.
But the reality is like, I'm just a human and I'm doing 3 dozen things. Right. You know what I mean? And I think I'm doing every single one of those 3 dozen things better than someone else could who's dedicated to 4 things. You know, and that's just not the reality. So yeah, they might do it 80%, but then 3 weeks later, if you have the right hire, it's 90%, and that's 110%, and then it's 150%, and then it's automated in a fraction of their job or whatever it is. You know what I mean? 100%. So it's easy for us to just, stuff has to get pried out of our cold dead hands sometimes.
Yeah.
But then once it does, and once you start to stack a couple wins with delegating stuff and like sharing task load across the team, right, then you start to believe in it and you're like, wow, this is really nice.
It can happen.
Yeah. Of course you can oscillate too far to the other side.
Sure.
And we've been guilty of that too. One thing I just want to be like so clear about is like this whole growth has not been without pain and without challenges. That's right. And there have been times we've over delegated, you know what I mean? And we're like, you got this? Like we have this, Pat hates that I do it. But I'll be like, you good? Everything good? And then he's like, oh, I hate it when you do that. Because sometimes it's also easy. It's like once you've tasted that delegation, you're like, this is nice.
Yeah.
You can also give something to someone who's not actually prepared to take it or you haven't. So it's not just, I'm done with this, take it off my hands.
Yeah. Kujo. Cujo. You know the name, now experience this incredible work shoe for yourself. Hey guys, Brian here. And just a few years ago, I wondered why there wasn't some lightweight, functional shoe for the lawn care industry. A couple of weeks later, I get a message from this new company, Cujo Yardwear, letting me know about a new shoe they created for lawn care pros. We tried them out, put them to work, and the rest, they say, is history. The guys and I love Cujos because they are lightweight, breathable, super comfortable, and keep our feet dry. No more running shoes with flimsy support and soaked socks due to the morning dew or a passing spring shower. Cujo Yardwear is a family-owned company. Sean and Kelsey are a brother-sister team, and they seriously care about offering the best products for our industry. Check them out at Cujo.com. That's Kujo.com. And don't forget to use the Brian's 10 code to save 10% on your next order. Get a pair for you and a pair for your crew. You'll be so happy that you did.
I'm done with this. Take it off my hands.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, let me bring you up in this. Let me give you the tools to be successful in this role, and then make sure you've got it, and then you can step away.
I love that. Greg Woodstock, the pond guy. Yeah. Great dude, Aquascape. He said, when you're hiring and you're growing the leadership into your individuals, it's like handing them a piece of rope. You ever heard this one from him? He's like, if you hand somebody a piece of rope, some people are going to build a rope and a ladder to climb up. Other people are going to make a noose and hang themselves.
Yeah.
He goes, you just give them the rope and see what they were made of.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was funny. It made me think about that. Like, you can over delegate, but you're like, hey, this guy made a ladder. Awesome. He's our guy. Hey, what happened to Rick? Don't worry about Rick.
You know, Rick is
he's just hanging out.
Anyways, you want a coffee?
Yeah. Sam Gamble, and I bring up him because you guys brought him up earlier. Great dude.
Awesome. We love Sam.
He's Sam Gamble, guys. I'm telling you, like, he's the real deal. He's coming back to speak at LAL. He had said on a webinar that we did, part of our Link membership, he said, if you hire somebody and they're doing 20 hours a week, or you're already doing something 20 hours a week, realistically, you need to hire somebody out because that 20-hour week job is probably likely a 40-hour position.
Yep.
It's just not getting paid attention to enough to where it should be done 40 hours yet.
Right.
And I was like, dude, I've got about 3 different things in my life. Right?
Yeah.
Then I start thinking, I go, if somebody say, hey, do you need a full-time position for this somebody? I go, no, I got it. Or somebody's got it. And we're only doing it 15, 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
But then the more I start saying that, I go, dude,
and you're doing it 60% as well as it could be done.
That's it, man. That's it. So like, I always ask people, like, I always say, in our content, I'm trying to document the middle.
Right.
You know, like, yeah, everybody knows how to get to 100 grand in revenue, just work. Growing to 10 million, it's like esoteric.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I love documenting the middle. And so I appreciate you taking 2 minutes just to say, hey, like some right hires, some building some systems, building some teams, delegating, culture type stuff. Like that's a lot of what a lot of guys are focusing on right now. Because they're trying to grow too.
Right.
So that is really, really helpful. So I appreciate that. Thanks for the candidness too. Like you've said a couple times while you're here, like it's not all been sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
Like we do not have it all figured out. But that just shows you guys are humble, you guys are growing, and I really respect that.
Yeah.
Is that like kind of a transition to phase 2, season 2? Because the last couple years, growth has been pretty awesome. I mean that's something that I'd be proud of. And I know it's ebbed and flowed. You guys were talking some revenue numbers. I think that's pretty, crazy growth still. Like you guys went from $1 million to way north of that in 5, 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
How has that been, like going from you and Pat in a truck mowing, like you said, from dark 30 to dark 30 to, hey, we've got this business now where we go around town and we see truck number 34 or whatever, going down the road. And you're like, hey, I think that's Mike. He's a new hire. I don't even know. I didn't hire him. I didn't give him a task that day, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So how does that feel building a local, small regional company that's turning into a big regional company?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
have you ever thought about it?
It's funny you asked the question because I guess I feel about it all the time, but I don't know how much it's hard to put words to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd definitely say I'm proud of it. I'm so proud of the people that we've built it with because I mean, Tyler's a great example. Rob's a great example.
4 Tims.
Yeah. 4 Tims, 16 Tims, 28 Tims.
Great office girls over there. They're hanging out.
Yeah. So cool. April and Gina. If I look at like removing any one of those spokes from the wheel, it's like, it's a completely different place, so I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of what we've built. I mean, the reputation we've got, that's not by accident. The team does incredible work. I tell the team this all the time. There's just only so much Patrick and I can do. Right. Like we'll be there in our team meetings and we'll talk about our core values and our mission and our vision. And we'll be in leadership meetings and we'll be in sometimes operations style meetings. And we usually get in trouble, but try to involve ourselves in operations or whatever. And at the end of the day, it's we couldn't do it if we wanted to. This is so far, it's not a runaway train, but there's things where it's not just us. I can't make this thing be one thing or the next just by myself anymore. Yeah. Which is a humbling experience for sure. Yeah. Because it's not, it's not as in control, if you will, as it was at one time. But the cool thing is the way that it's gone out of control is because of just extreme ownership on a lot of other people's parts. I
love it.
So that's, I would say I'm just extremely proud of them. And we really could not do it without the team that we've got here.
What are you guys doing for, and I appreciate that. What are you guys doing for work, by the way? I meant to ask that earlier. Are you guys more landscape, more construction, more site management? What do you guys do?
We're a mix. So we've got, this year it'll shake between, we're still waiting to see how it shakes out because we still have a lot of maintenance stuff. We're coming in. Timestamp for this is what, mid-May, May 15th?
Yeah.
So we still have actually a lot of maintenance stuff converting right now. Everyone residential maintenance sales are off the charts.
Yeah.
Most of our commercial stuff is locked up, but we'll shake out somewhere between 50 and 55% commercial and residential recurring maintenance.
Okay.
And then, 55 and 60% design build side of things. And then rolled into that design build number, we've got 2 landscape architects on staff and we charge for our designs as well.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Now, where's the, if you don't mind me asking, where's the heart, the soul, the passion at maybe then, and where is it at now? Are you, as he leans back and smiles, folks.
Yeah.
I'm asking hopefully not just how-tos, but big picture stuff, because as I go through it and as other guys are going through it and as some people aspire to go through it, just watching out for landmines.
Yeah.
But where have you guys found your passion, or have you guys always thought, hey, we'll always do residential construction, and now you're hey, actually we're doing commercial snow or whatever, because things evolve.
I'll rewind back to the shiny object syndrome comment I made earlier. That's the evolution right there. Is one just going from what's the next fun thing? What's the next honestly cool or sexy thing that we can do? Where it's boys and their toys. We got a 306. That means we need a bigger trailer. And now we have, 33K GVWR trucks. Let's go. It's so easy to want all that stuff. And I think the transition that's happened for us in terms of to your question about where our passion is and where our heart is at the end of the day. I mentioned this in our conversation on the shop tour. Yeah. Your business is a tool and you are in charge of your life and what you want your life to be. Mm-hmm. So I think we've really started thinking about the business much more as that. So, man, I love working here. I love working with these people. I love working in this space. I am passionate about it. I'm not muted to the green industry. I love it. Right. Meeting people like you, meeting people like Caleb, meeting people like Sam.
Yeah.
And locally, I have so many friends locally who run awesome businesses. There's some of the just salt of the earth people who work outside, work with their hands. Where my real passion is in both for myself and helping others find your business is a tool to architect the life that you want to have. Mm-hmm. And as soon as it stops functioning as that, and as soon as it starts being oh, I just love doing X, Y, or Z so much.
Right.
That'll only take you so far.
Wow.
That's not integrated into your life. Yeah. That's just like a fun thing to do. Similar to any other hobby. If it's like, I just love fishing. Right. One day you're going to look up and be like, what am I doing? Right. Like this is, I haven't built anything beyond this. You know what I mean? That's not to say you can't build a life in fishing or can't build a life in whatever else. But I think that's where I've become really passionate is like, how am I using this as a tool to build the life that I want for myself and my family? How's Patrick doing that for himself and his family? And the only way you're going to get where you want to go is if you take people along with you. So like, and then how are we making that a win-win for the team that's doing that alongside us?
I love that.
So it's been it's a challenge. I mean, we're talking a whole wide strata of people that work for or at Local Roots, right?
Right.
So getting all those people aligned on a common vision, sure. I'm not going to tell you like
it's easy.
Yeah, it's easy, or it's even possible to get everyone to care about X object the same way you do. But it is really important to get people to understand what we're doing here and how it ties to a deeper plan, and to get them to think to a deeper plan.
I love that.
Because a lot of people don't, honestly. Right. And I mean, that's easy. I think probably everyone listening to this can feel that in themselves. It's really easy to just go about your life and you wake up. I'm not kidding. Like you wake up and you look back at the last 6 months, you're like, what have I done? Like, what am I doing?
Hopefully building. Yeah.
Where am I going? Yeah. Like what's happening with my life? You know? So I think the more we can keep that in front of us, that's been what's been, I guess, lighting me up is building more towards that. So
the intentionality.
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly. And I think that translates, generally speaking, towards lower management strata of work. You know what I mean? Stuff that requires less like super high level of expertise to run. So I want a very high level of expertise in my management staff. I don't want my team to be hamstringed if we lose a good staff member. Right. You know what I mean? We are generally speaking looking for stuff that's a little more replicable, a little easier to teach, so that it's not, threat level delta if someone puts in their 2 weeks.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm. Man, that's awesome. And I love that. Like giving your folks the opportunity to grow in your organization, because that's like my wife and I, like, we're doing okay. Like life is good. We're not where we were 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But people are like, well, you want to grow. Why do you want to grow? I go, well, like we have more in our tank, but then number 2, I want to give our team room to grow.
Right.
The trimmer guy doesn't want to be on the trimmer all day for the rest of his life, maybe for a season or 2, but why isn't he a crew lead? Why isn't he a right hand? Why isn't he a foreman? Why can't he be like you said, a service manager or a supervisor or whatever? Right. Everybody's got their name. Like give those guys opportunity to grow. Mm-hmm. And now you guys are seeing that as like your responsibility to like give those people that opportunity, but keep the vision cohesive and tight and really make sure that you guys are operating in your passion zone.
Yep.
Shiny object syndrome. I don't know who came up with that term. I've said that term. You've said that term. A lot of people have said that term, but it's the truth.
People always say, as I've always said, shiny object syndrome.
Shut up, dude. I told this. What was the joke? I said, have you heard that one before?
Yeah, not since you told me.
There's an old saying, folks. Like if you ever hear a motivational speaker, this is a total side tangent, but if you ever hear a motivational speaker, they'll say like, as somebody once said, and then, or as somebody once said, and then it's like, as I've always said, or as it's always been said out there, and then the evolution is as I've always said, And
you just slowly own the concept.
Yeah. So I don't know. Sam Gamble probably told me that joke or something, but so like Fullerton's like it's always about route density, as I've always heard people say that, and then 5 years later I'm like I'm the route density king. I've always said it's like sure, bro, sure you are. Like the only person that probably can lay claim to fame on that is probably John Maxwell, because you go to friggin' Barnes and Noble and the dude wrote 40, 50 books. Yeah, he's got like the shelf.
Yeah,
like the whole section at Barnes and Noble. So Barnes and Noble for you young people, it's a bookstore, and that's where people take like portions of the internet and they print it off, put it in a hard binding. And
portions of the internet.
Well, they can't take anything for granted. I did a shop tour with one of the guys, and I said, "You got to present like Vanna," and he goes, "Yeah," and he was like pointing and stuff, and I said, dude, you got to present like Vanna. He goes, honestly, dude, I don't know who the hell Vanna is. So it's like the analogies, they got to evolve, Yeah. But it's like the lady.
We've got to update ourselves.
Yeah. Like I'm getting old, bro. I don't know. It's wild. It's happening right before my eyes. Right. So anyway, last thing I want to bring up is, and you guys didn't ask me to bring this up in any way, shape or form, but you guys talked about this 2 or 3 times here. And I did want to incorporate it. Was you have a mentorship coaching program and platform.
Yep.
Called Forward, because I said, Ken, Pat, like this has been a crazy fun growth journey and story for you guys last 5 to 7 years, especially. And it hasn't always been forward growth. You guys were candid in that. I'm like, okay, interesting, cool. I said, how are you doing this? How are you guys keeping it together? And you said, It's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But then you guys notice in the marketplace, a lot of people are trying to do the same thing and trying to grow and trying to get better. And you guys have mastered certain levels of your company. Now, you're not a finished product either.
Right.
But tell me a little bit more about Ford, because this is a newer thing. I think this is a great need in the marketplace. It's really going to help a lot of people out. It's not for everyone. I don't want to give any big picture on any of it, but the results are speaking for themselves. And I do want to just take a quick second and talk about, is it Forward?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me the 2 minutes on Forward, because this is actually really cool.
Cool. I appreciate you doing that. I really do.
Yeah.
Our mission statement is to, we want to free people from the grind and give them freedom in their business. And that's what everyone starts out to do, is to find freedom. Like people, it's the dream. It's the American dream of like, hey, I want to get away from this, or I never even want to start the rat race. And that's not, I say rat race broadly. It's not bad to work for someone. That's not a bad thing. Yeah. But oftentimes people start with that, and then they really lose track of it really quickly. And what they end up doing is just buying themselves a job, pretty much. A job that comes with way more stress. You know, a job that pays you $50,000 a year and comes with the stress of a $200,000 a year job, right? Fair. Or a $300,000 a year job. So our goal is, we have learned a lot. I mentioned earlier, like, I think we could have skipped our first 3 years of business, 4 years of business with what we know now. So our goal is to give that information to people. And it's been really cool being able to work with clients, to take their business from an out of control monster who's trying to eat them alive every day of the year. Whether that be through in the springtime, it's, you know, clients are out of control. Like they can't get stuff done fast enough in the summertime. Retention's a challenge. You know, in the fall, they don't know how to plan or sell snow. And then in the winter, it's cash flow. And it's just, there's no rest from the beast, right? So it's trying to turn that beast back into, as I mentioned earlier, like a tool that you get to build your life with.
I like it.
And it's so, basically, that's the long and the short of it.
Yeah.
And we try to help people kind of take that back. And it's been really awesome. And that's through all kinds of different things. So we have one-on-one coaching, and then we have a peer group platform as well.
What's the reception been like so far? I mean, you guys launched it just a couple months ago, but people are signing up like crazy.
Yeah. So in January was our hard launch for it. We've worked with people a lot over the years, just kind of ad hoc, being connected to people.
Sure.
It's always been a huge passion project for us. We just love doing it.
Yeah.
There's nothing like seeing the light bulb go on. And it's like, because there's a tremendous amount, and I know because I've lived it. There's a ton of pain in the industry. Like, it is freaking hard what we do. It's freaking hard. And having a family counting on you and looking to you, having a staff, having a client base, having a reputation, that's a tremendous amount of stress. It really is. So being able to like see the lights go on and people's eyes are like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Or like, that's so much easier, or that's so much more streamlined, or that makes all the sense in the world. So to be able to give, small businesses those tools, and we work predominantly with people from just getting started up to $2 or $3 million is kind of like our sweet spot.
Okay.
And my brother-in-law said one time, and I'll end it with this: is he said coaches need to be when a coach does their job well, they're a liberating force, not an occupying force. So that's something we've always tried to be very honest with ourselves about. It's like we're going to help you for the time that we can help you.
Right.
And then we're going to give you a slap on the butt and, wish you, like, send you on your way. Exactly.
I love it.
So that's
as he's always said.
Yeah. As I've always said.
As he's always said.
Yeah. So that's what we really strive to be. And yeah, it has been a phenomenal reception. And I would say that as far as just like passion and life goes for me, it has been one of the most fulfilling things ever. Just people come ready to play. Like they're honest, they're transparent. It's a space where, like, honestly, people are putting their fears on the table. Like we're talking through them when we're moving the ball down the field. So it's been really rewarding. Yeah, no, I love that. I tell folks all the time listening in, and my podcast or other, I can't speak for everybody out there offering something because I don't know everybody, or I don't know everybody's motives or incentives, right? But I've gotten to know you guys enough. Caleb's talked very highly of you. Element, Mark Bradley. Mark Bradley's not going to link his brand up with some fly by night or somebody not doing something on the level. So like feather in your cap, feather in your cap, feather in your cap, feather in your cap. Like I know I can feel while I've been here for just 4 or 5 hours where your guys' spirit is about helping people. And if you guys are listening in, like not everybody is trying to sell you something. You're like, some people are genuinely here. They're making something available, and it's up to you to take advantage of it. Yep. And some will, some won't, and that's okay. But for any of you guys that, we have a link, monthly membership, Facebook group, great program for guys, 0 to $500,000 is kind of what we're focusing on. But if somebody's got a, $1.6 million company, they're trying to go to 3.2, they're running into cash flow issues, they need finances to grow, but also like they're getting, just crushed on receivables. Like you guys have been there. You've done that for 5, 6, 7 years. You've not only went through the crucible, but you've been able to figure out a system to
get that under control. And that's available. And that's education. And to me, that's an investment. And why spend 2 years, like you said, bludgeoning my sword or beating my head on the wall?
Yeah.
You know, if I can to get access to somebody in a mentorship group or a coach and get access to that information, it's an absolute no-brainer. So for anybody listening in, I'll make sure to leave a link in the description. You guys are focused on very, kind of niche down for business sizes and in that sweet spot.
Yep.
It's not a come one, come all kind of a deal, but what was the name of the group again? Just so I can plug it down below in the description.
Forward. It's FRWRD coaching.com.
Forwardcoaching.com.
Yeah. Or on Instagram. You can find us too.
Reach out to you guys on local routes, Instagram, and somebody can connect you and get you all the info.
However you try to find us, you'll find us.
Yeah. You guys are telling me the price. I'm like, that's actually ridiculous. You're giving that much away for that. So I'm not revisiting my business model. You guys have way more time than I do. I'm just kidding. But seriously, I'm pumped for you guys. Like, that's awesome. And
I appreciate that.
That's available in the marketplace. That's really, really cool because, man, mentorship and coaching is huge right now, and peer groups. And guys, if I'm just telling you, all the biggest people I know, all the people that are growing, they're plugging in.
Yeah.
They're plugging into something.
Totally. And I mentioned to you earlier, I want to see the industry elevated. I want to see dads spending more time with their families. I want to see people like being like living in healthier communities, doing what they love. Like, if it's us or someone else, like, I don't care. Just one lick.
Plug in.
But plug in.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, there's so much pain that we go through that you just don't have to. And I'm sure, like, you could put it in physical terms, a lot of stuff you've done in the past where it's like, when we used to, like, I can look back to when we were early and like shoveling like dirt off flatbed trail, like shoveling it onto flatbed trailers, shoveling it off of flatbed trailers. And then you have a dump truck for the first time and you see it just dump out of the back and you're like, my goodness, like, that's unbelievable. So there's so much of that we just live with the pain for no reason for a way too extended period of time.
I love it. Brad and Tammy Miller, they're part of Tandem Marriage. They're the marriage counselors that come into Together in the Trades. They're going to be speaking here about 2 months. They went from counseling to coaching this last 10, 15 years because counseling, like, you're at the end of the rope.
Yep.
They said, like, they can fix that. They're going to do their best. But they said, what we really found to be passionate about is the coaching. Hey, let's get you before the counseling, right? Let's work on preventative maintenance stuff. And I'm like, I like that. And so, guys, if you can, before you have to throw in the towel and say, I can't take it anymore, enough is enough, I'm done with this thing, this isn't for me, this industry stinks, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you don't need at that point, you need a counselor.
Yeah.
But let's get some coaching in there. Like you said, let's work on some basics. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Somebody probably already has figured it out.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not here to make it a big pitch for Forward or Link or anything like that. But folks, like, there are people out there that have the answers that you're probably looking for. And if you're struggling, you just have to recognize as a professional, every other industry does professional development. CEP, continuing education programs or platforms. Why do we not have something like that in the green industry?
Yeah.
Right. So whether it's Grow Group, Forward, Link, a bunch of other great stuff out there, plug into something, find your guy and, plug into them, learn, take notes, humble the ego, and let's grow. Like you said, take that 4 years of your first couple years of growth. That could have been a 6-month season. And, it's not only what you're making then, it's what it costs you then, like in the future. So, like, if you're making big money today, imagine if that would have been accelerated by 4 years. If somebody offered me 10 grand to go make $2 million extra dollars, is maybe that's what we're leaving on the table by not plugging it, right? You got to look forward and fast forward and say, man, if things gain momentum and exponential, what's 10 grand today to go make more money later? Or whatever it is. Not that you guys are 10 grand, but anyway, interesting analogy, interesting thoughts. Anything you want to add on that one or piggyback? Or?
Nothing really other than I mentioned it earlier. Like, there's no silver bullets to it. Like, that's you have to come ready to play, and you have to come to some people. It's a point of desperation. Like I told you where we were,
and that's fair.
Where it's like I'm willing to do anything right now. Like, you tell me what to do, and I will do it.
I love it.
But again, ideally, you get to people before where we were. And it's like, hey, I want to avoid that. Like, I don't want to go down that road and need to get a tow, 16 times on the way through.
100%.
But there has to be that fuel in the tank to start it. Or else you're gonna feel like it's a silver bullet, and you're just throwing good money after bad at that point.
And then it's in a whole nother shiny object syndrome.
Exactly.
It's a whole nother problem. As I've always said, if you're going to go through a landmine or a minefield full of landmines, you want to be first? You want to be last?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, yeah. I got that from a guy, you know, as I've always said.
You know what I say all the time.
And me being smart guy said, well, I want to be the guy who made it through.
Yeah.
You know, because who knows if the last guy made it, right? Because you always get a +1 something. But it is an interesting analogy. Like, hey, don't step on that landmine. Step over here, right?
Yeah.
And that's what good coaching can do for you. Anyway, if you guys want to check out Forward, we'll leave a link in the description. Yeah. And if you guys want to check it out, reach out to Pat and Ken. They got some great things going on with that. I wanted to bring it up because I think it's very, very helpful for guys that are in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. And so, guys, if you don't have something to plug into now you got something that you guys can plug into. Okay. Anything else you want to cover for a quick minute? I always want to say, like, open mic, man. Anything that's on your mind, on your thoughts, on your heart. Super appreciate the opportunity here with you guys today. I think we might try to go grab some lunch or something. I'm piggybacking, driving down the road. Actually, we have a live stream with our peer group tonight, which is cool, at 9 p.m. Part of Link, which is exciting. So I got to piggyback home and get back there at a reasonable hour, but I don't want to rush through this by any way, shape, or form. Anything you want to leave these guys while we got you, man?
Yeah.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, it really has been. And thanks so much for coming out. It's been super fun to get to know you and do this and the tour and all that. So.
Oh, thanks for hooking up the hotel.
Oh, yeah. How was it?
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's like this old manor castle freaking, what is it? Mansion?
Yeah, it's an old... So on Pittsburgh, that was like one of the old executive rows back in the day. So you live close to, like, you know, Carnegie Mellon University? Have you ever heard of it? You haven't?
Nothing.
CMU is like a big university here.
Sure.
So like Andrew Carnegie, the Mellon family, all those people, this is all Pittsburgh money. Pittsburgh was one of the richest. It was the seat of wealth in the United States for a period of time.
Okay.
And that's like Executive Row right there, where a lot of those famous people used to live right there.
Really? It did look upscale. It looked nice.
Yeah. And there's some estates back in there that would boggle your mind.
Wow.
But a lot of those have been converted into places like yours was. So you stayed I have a buddy who's the manager down there.
Yeah.
And he always hooks me up if I've got anyone coming in. So shout out to Adam for helping us out.
It was really cool. I actually panned a video of the lobby in the room, and I sent it to Liz. She goes, definitely have some FOMO.
Yeah.
She would live in a place like that.
Yeah.
I cannot live in a place like that.
Yeah.
I like it for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah.
But seriously, she would literally move into a place like that. You know, back in Detroit, like, you know, same thing with Pittsburgh, 1930s, 40s, 50s.
Old money.
Homes. Yeah, old money, old homes. She loves them. I'm like, maybe for like a lake cottage.
Yeah.
Let's compromise here. You know, I want the smart home, the modern, modern home or whatever you call it. But sweet hotel. I just had to say thank you. I totally forgot. Like, brain fart.
Course,
Drive all the way home, and you're probably like, that guy's a jerk. Didn't even say thank you. I hooked him up, man. It was a cool hotel though.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But again, I interrupted you again. Any parting thoughts you wanted to share with these guys? But man, super fun trip, super cool time. And where can people find you, by the way, Duh?
Yeah. So if they want to get to me directly, I am actually not on social media myself. Yeah. But you feel free to email me. So that'd be Kenneth, KENNETH @forwardcoaching.com.
Cool.
And just a quick note on that too. Like if anyone wants to reach out, if you just have a quick question, like I'm always happy to talk. I'm not going to nickel and dime you. Like if you just need some feedback or want to see if something's a good fit or whatever, reach out to me. Seriously, I'm more than happy.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as just parting words, I would say it's I've alluded to this a lot in this conversation, but it's just like you're in control. Like this isn't running away without you unless you let it. And unfortunately, a lot of people do. But you got into this for a reason. Like you started your business, you got into the industry for a reason and a purpose, and it's really easy to lose that. It's really, really freaking easy to do that. So I'd say just stay in front of that, remember why you did it, and build towards that. Don't build towards, again, the next shiny object or where you think you should go because of what Local Roots did or because of what Atlas Outdoor did or because of what Brian's Lawn Maintenance did.
Yeah.
Like that's not your story. You can learn from that. You can take things from that. But at the end of the day, like you're doing this for you are doing this for your family, for your community. So like keep that goal in front of you and make sure you keep those goals in front of you. We do this with our team. Sometimes we have this big long warehouse out here and we've done it before where I'll send someone, I'll say, hey, go touch the latch on the other side of the garage door. And they look at me kind of funny and they just like walk down, touch the latch. I'm like, all right, now walk back. They're like, cool. And I'm like, all right, now close your eyes. Now go do it again. And it's because you're not staying focused on what you're heading towards. They'll end up way off target, not even close to where they're going because it's a 60-yard walk.
Sure.
And they've got no clue. You're not making these micro adjustments that you make when you keep your head up. So that'd be my big encouragement to people is just keep your head up in a way that's constantly not in like a stressful way, but like you always need to be reevaluating what you're doing. It's like, is this actually meeting the goals that I set out to meet? Or is this just kind of running away on me? And there's so much you do and you're just like, you couldn't answer the why question. Why are you adding another team? Why are you buying another truck? Why are you trying to go after this contract?
Right.
Maybe there's a perfectly good answer for it, but I think you can get into seasons of life where there's just as likely that there's no answer for it at all, other than it's just a next thing I can do.
Right.
Make sense?
Dude, that's like a solid 3 minutes right there.
Yeah.
That's chock full of wisdom. Guys, hit like, what do you do? Replay, or rewind 30 seconds. That was good. Like, remember your why, have your own story there, and know why you're trying to do what you're trying to do. And don't let something dictate otherwise.
Yeah.
I love that. That's really good soul searching, bro. That's like drop the mic. All right. That's all I got. Walk on the local routes. That's super good, man. I super appreciate you.
Yeah, likewise, man.
Thank you for sharing all that. Again, I'm sure a bunch of other great people here will be listening to this. Pat, Tim, whoever else, the girls in the office, they were super nice. Thank you guys for accommodating.
For sure.
I don't want to be an expensive date, so I'm gonna probably land the plane here and we'll begin down the road, man. But hope to see you guys continue to grow in snow. See you guys continue to grow in landscaping.
Yeah.
Maybe another LMN mastermind one day open up again.
That'd be a blast.
If they do, guys, take advantage of that. I know Mark Bradley was here, and I saw you guys on Instagram, and now I get to actually see the place in person. I was like, oh my god, that's that wall. That's that wall.
Yeah.
You see it all come together, you know. If you guys are listening to the podcast real time, I invite you guys to check out the YouTube channel. We'll drop that at 7 p.m. Eastern. You guys can put a face to the name, see the shop, see the rest of the tour,
right,
and see what they got going on with this beautiful site and facility. So, Ken, that's all I got, brother. Thanks so much.
Cool. Yeah, it's an honor to have you out here.
You betcha, brother. All right, man. Well, guys, we'll button it up right here. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll catch up with you guys here on the next one.
You're working hard to grow your lawn and landscaping business. You deserve footwear and apparel that works as hard as you and makes your life a little easier. Cujo Yardware has been listening to the lawn care community and is working to offer you the best gear. They started with the Cujo Yard Shoe, the hybrid shoe boot designed for mowing, trimming, and landscaping. After hearing the need for a safety toe, Cujo launched the Composite Toe X1 Landscape Boot. Thanks to your feedback, Cujo introduced the Jags, a high-performance work shoe that just pulls on with no lacing needed. And most recently, Cujo listened to the lawn care community to create the ultimate summer work pants, the light, breathable, and comfortable Cujo Yard Pants. Cujo Yardware is dedicated to the green industry and will keep working hard to offer you the right gear. Check them out at Cujo.com, Kujo.com. Before you turn off the podcast, there are two things that we believe you will be highly interested in. First, if you're looking to stay up to date with the latest trends and insights in the world of lawn care, then you'll want to subscribe to our free email newsletter. It shows up in your inbox 3 times a week and includes a Monday motivational to kick off your week, a Wednesday what's new to keep you informed, and a Friday weekly recap of all the content we put out. The second thing is we have just launched Lawntrepreneur Academy Link. Now you can be a part of an exclusive community that links you to those who can help you grow in your lawn care business. Joining Lawntrepreneur Link will give you the tools that you need to stay accountable, get real-time expert advice, and find belonging in a community of folks who are passionate about the lawn care industry just like you. Visit LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com to learn how Link membership gives you unique access to monthly hangouts, bidding hour calls, coaching calls, expert lessons, and more. Stay ahead of the curve and level up your business with a membership to the Lawntrepreneur Academy Link. Find an easy-to-use link in the podcast description.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.